Wholeness and love, everyone, and welcome to Finding Our True North. This video is all about discovering how to connect to our most authentic self. Our intention for today is number one, what steps connect me to my true north? Number two, how do I access my authentic self? And number three, the importance of reflecting over our life story. Before we begin, I would like to share a quote with you by the author Bill George of the book True North, Discovering Your Authentic Leadership. Your true north is your internal compass that guides you to move through your life successfully. On an external level, the North Star was known to support those who would travel the seas of the lands to find their way back home due to its fixed position. The metaphor that we're trying to utilize in this case is the internal aspect of your being. What is my North Star that connects me back to my fully integrated self? The version of me that no longer has to wear a mask, but can actually integrate into every space from my community, my family, my work, and my own self in the most authentic way. Here at Conscious Youth Development and Service, we believe that self-awareness and introspection, as well as mindfulness and meditation, are the foundational tools that allow us to begin the journey to connect to our true self. Because sometimes when we navigate that story, we recognize there are thoughts, feelings, experiences that make it difficult for us to sit within that space. But through the use of non-judgmental awareness, the control of our breath, we begin to have a toolkit that makes it much easier to explore the deeper recesses of our being. This isn't the easiest of work for all folks to begin to venture on, but the fruits of this labor are powerful in terms of what it does to the transformation of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Along this journey of discovering our true north, we begin to live a life with more purpose. Our values begin to match our actions. We begin to move from our heart and not from our head, and we access a more authentic and vulnerable part of our being so that we can be fully expressed in our highest self. To begin this journey, we have to first begin to explore our life story. You may ask yourself, why must I review my life story? I'm living my life right now perfectly fine and everything's okay. But a lot of times we don't recognize some of the reactivity, some of the triggers, some of the pain bodies that we carry in this present moment are reflected in spaces of our past that we have neglected or unconsciously suppressed due to the nature of our life. As we begin to reflect deeper on our past, we look at our highs and our lows, the light and the shadows, we begin to get a clear perspective of exactly why we are the way we are, what we have healed from, and those aspects of ourselves that we are still healing from. Both take a lot of authenticity and especially a level of vulnerability to explore the emotional aspects of who we are. Let's take a moment to reflect on a question. I'm asking you to share with me, who are you? Take a moment to let that marinate. Who am I? Who are you? How would you respond? What would you share with me? The majority of folks that I have come across in my life will only share the highlights of what they've experienced. Very rarely do you see them share the deeper aspects that really have created who they are in this present moment. But if I were to ask of you to share with me some of the crucibles of your journey, some of the dark nights that you've experienced, how easy would you be able to share that space with me, open and authentically? Most people I talk about find it very difficult to explore the shadow aspects of their being, as that is something we're not conditioned to do. But if I were to ask you this second question, who do you pretend to be? What mask do you put on to conform to society? What mask do you wear consciously or unconsciously to be accepted, to be appreciated? How would you respond to me then? And what feelings, emotions, and sensations would arise from within you in that space of creating that story? Now, what I feel is not good or bad, right or wrong, but my ability to sit within that space is going to give me the power and strength to really recognize how my past, how my life story has created the individual that I am today. and the more acceptance, the less judgment I hold for those parts of my being, the more freedom I begin to find on a physical, mental, and emotional level, and it also begins to allow me to express myself as a true, authentic leadership. Now, how does sharing and reviewing my life story begin to allow me to connect back to my authentic self? Because when I'm wearing a mask, am I really me? When I'm not fully connected to the parts of myself that I've experienced, can I truly express my full potential? So in terms of being honest, truthful, and connected to our inner world, that begins to give you a compass that I say always begins at our heart space. So when I begin to lose my way, when I begin to move away from my values, when I no longer follow my purpose in my career with my family or my friends, I will know that I'm no longer following my true north. And the reviewing and reflection of this life story will keep you grounded in who you truly are within every space that you are working in, connecting in, and being in. In research done on a course of authentic leaders by Bill George, they interviewed over 155 individuals, and they have found some interesting results from that data. They have discovered that connecting to their life story has given them the power to live a more purpose-driven life, recognizing that the challenges, the crucibles, the highs, the lows are what shaped and motivated them to move in the career path that they're living in this present moment. So I say all of that to say, this is what we're going to begin to explore within this next video, and also a little side practice before we move into our mindfulness meditation practice. And this is exactly what we're going to do on this next exercise, is to begin to create a space that allows for us to reflect even deeper on our life story. What I would like for you to do, utilizing the document that is attached within this video, is to explore your life story from ages 0 to 30. And we're gonna split that up from the most positive memories that I have to the most negative experiences that I have been through. And during this process, as we're reflecting within this space, I want you to notice what's happening inside your body. I want you to be conscious of the rhythm of your breath, and more importantly, the emotions that are coming up within your heart. And as you're reflecting on the positive experiences, notice how that joy, that euphoria moves and flows through the body. And when you go through one of those negative experiences, notice how that heaviness, that anxiety, that anger, that frustration penetrates your body as well. And in doing this, the precaution that I would say to you is, depending on how traumatic or difficult that experience may be, you may want to take and move with caution and tread lightly as you chart down. We're not here to label the complete detail of the experience, but for instance, when I fell off my bike when I was in 2nd grade, I had a pretty bad fall, split my hand in half. I could just put bike accident, negative experience. When I won my championship game in 8th grade, I could just simply mark championship basketball. And once we have a good amount of highs and lows, what I would like for you to do is to begin to explore 2 points on that map on a deeper level, and to ask yourself, what lessons have I learned from this experience? And what lessons am I still learning at this present moment in time? Does it still trigger me as I thought about it? Or do I have more acceptance? And typically, most human beings, we have some things that we're still holding on to, and that's perfectly okay. The goal of incorporating the mindfulness and self-awareness is to accept this experience without judgment and being fully present with it, to recognize once that energy moves through you, what's waiting for you on the other side is freedom, is bliss, and transformation. To conclude, our North Star, our true north, is that guiding light that continues to bring us back home to our most authentic self, so that we can live a life that's in complete harmony on all levels. In order for us to gain access to this space, we must begin to realign ourselves with our purpose, match our actions with our values, and give ourselves the ability to be more vulnerable. And this process all begins by connecting back within. So my beautiful people, I hope that you took away the necessary insight from this message, and that you can go further in your exploration as you go through the mapping out of your life story, and also following in the guided practice, which allows you to go even deeper to explore those memories, to see what is still holding you down, what is causing blockages, and what we can do to begin to free them through the practice of mindfulness and compassion. Have a beautiful day.